Arsenal reach verbal agreement with Viktor Gyokeres. Arsenal reportedly have a verbal agreement in place with Victor Gyökeres, as the striker is still an important part of their striker shortlist. According to Sasha Tavalieri, Arsenal are still in the mix for Victor Gyökeres and have an agreement in place with the striker. The Gunners are looking at other names in the market, though the agreement with the Swedish man shows they want to keep all options open. Arsenal are intent on landing a new striker in this window on priority, as work has ramped up in the background. Andrea Berta is leading the charge for the Gunners in this market as some of their main targets have become clearer. As soon as Berta arrived at the club, Victor Gyökeres' name was mentioned across media reports as Arsenal's main target for the number 9 role. The Portuguese is probably one of the first names to be constantly linked with the Gunners whenever the subject of a new striker signing emerges. Despite having a €100 million release clause in his Sporting CP contract, the Portuguese club are reportedly ready to sell at a much lower point. Reports were stating that Arsenal had already offered a contract to Gyökeres in an attempt to get personal terms out of the way. Arsenal reach verbal agreement with Victor Gyökeres. Arsenal reportedly have a verbal agreement in place with Victor Gyökeres, as the striker is still an important part of their striker shortlist. According to Sasha Tavalieri, Arsenal are still in the mix for Victor Gyökeres and have an agreement in place with the striker. The Gunners are looking at other names in the market, though the agreement with the Swedish man shows they want to keep all options open. Arsenal are intent on landing a new striker in this window on priority, as work has ramped up in the background. Andrea Berta is leading the charge for the Gunners in this market as some of their main targets have become clearer. As soon as Berta arrived at the club, Victor Gyökeres' name was mentioned across media reports as Arsenal's main target for the number 9 role. The Portuguese is probably one of the first names to be constantly linked with the Gunners whenever the subject of a new striker signing emerges. Despite having a €100 million release clause in his Sporting CP contract, the Portuguese club are reportedly ready to sell at a much lower point. Reports were stating that Arsenal had already offered a contract to Gyökeres in an attempt to get personal terms out of the way. It appears the Gunners do have a verbal agreement with the striker being described as a world-class star ahead of the summer, as they might ramp up their efforts to land him soon. Whether the Swede is their main target in light of recent updates remains to be seen, as they might be in danger of missing out on Gyökeres as rivals like Manchester United are also keeping a close watch. Arsenal to decide on striker target soon. Arsenal are not placing all their eggs in one basket, as they are chasing other names parallelly in the market. The Gunners had opened concrete negotiations for Benjamin Cesco, who at this point appears to be their main target even ahead of Gyökeres. Arsenal do not have an agreement on personal terms with the Slovenian yet, but they are set to ramp up talks on all fronts. Their simultaneous pursuit of Cesco and Gyökeres shows the desire to land a striker, but also keep their options open just in case one or the other does not pan out in their favor. Arsenal verbally agreed personal terms with Cesco alternative. Arsenal haven't ruled out a move for Victor Gyökeres despite ongoing talks over Benjamin Cesco, and the Swedish striker has verbally agreed to join. Sasha Tavalieri reports that RB Leipzig have indeed opened negotiations with Arsenal over Benjamin Cesco, but that doesn't mean he's the club's only option. The Gunners are reportedly trying to make progress on several fronts simultaneously to avoid being left empty-handed, and Victor Gyökeres has already given his verbal agreement to join the club. Tavalieri adds that despite some claims to the contrary, Cesco hasn't reached an agreement on personal terms yet. So on that front, Gyökeres' signing is actually more advanced than Cesco's. Elsewhere, Chris Wheatley reports for the Sporting News that Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta is progressing talks with Leipzig's Ruven Schroeder, with no agreement yet over a fee. Leipzig reportedly want at least £75 million for Cesco, but Arsenal are hoping to reduce the upfront cost using performance-related add-ons. But if Tavalieri is to be believed, a failure to reach a compromise would see Arsenal simply pivot to Gyökeres. Arsenal have been pushing for Cesco for a while now, making previous attempts to sign him in the summer of 2024 and January 2025. The striker scored 21 goals for Leipzig in 2024-25, assisting a further 6, as well as scoring 5 goals in 8 games for Slovenia. He's been called up again for a couple of friendlies against Luxembourg and Bosnia and Herzegovina over the upcoming June break. Arsenal have reportedly met with RB Leipzig to discuss a deal for striker Benjamin Cesco. Sky Sports Germany say the sporting directors of both clubs have already met to get negotiations underway. The report adds that Cesco has a release clause of just over €80 million, lower than what has been reported elsewhere. Cesco scored 13 goals and provided 5 assists in 33 Bundesliga games last season. Another of Arsenal's targets, Rodrigo, however, is claimed to have told Real Madrid he wants to stay. That is according to Marca. The report adds that Cesco has a release clause of just over €80 million, lower than what has been reported elsewhere. Cesco scored 13 goals and provided 5 assists in 33 Bundesliga games last season. The Mikel Arteta conundrum: navigating the transfer market with Viktor Gyokeres. In the world of football, transfer dealings can be as complex and layered as the game itself. Mikel Arteta, the head coach of Arsenal, recently shed light on the intricate negotiations surrounding Sporting Lisbon's Victor Gyokeres. This article explores not just the transfer saga but also the broader implications of Arteta's insights for Arsenal's strategy and future. The art of negotiation. Mikel Arteta has proven himself to be a tactician not only on the pitch but also in the boardroom. His recent comments about Victor Gyökeres illustrate the challenges that often accompany player transfers. According to Arteta, reaching a verbal agreement with the 26-year-old forward was no easy feat. He described Gyökeres as a hard individual to deal with, emphasizing that the player took his time in considering the move to Arsenal. Arteta's admission highlights a crucial aspect of football transfers: the emotional and psychological components involved. Players are not merely assets to be bought and sold, they are individuals with aspirations, concerns, and conditions that must be met. Gyökeres, despite the allure of joining a club like Arsenal, had specific conditions that Arteta and his team had to navigate. The conditions of transfer. Arteta's comments reveal a fascinating glimpse into the negotiations. Gyökeres reportedly presented conditions that reflected his ambitions and expectations for his career. This dynamic serves as a reminder that players are increasingly aware of their worth and the opportunities available to them in today's competitive landscape. For Arsenal, this situation presents both challenges and opportunities. While Gyökeres has demonstrated considerable talent, his age and the conditions he set could complicate the transfer. Arteta's acknowledgement of these challenges indicates a more nuanced approach to player acquisition, one that goes beyond mere talent assessment. Age and potential, a balancing act. One of the most striking elements of Arteta's comments was his mention of Gyökeres' age. At 26, the player is at a stage where he should be hitting his prime, yet this also raises questions about long-term investment. Arsenal has historically leaned towards younger talents, and Arteta himself has emphasized the importance of building a squad that can grow together. This brings us to Benjamin Cesco, a player who has been linked with Arsenal and is just 22 years old. The contrast between the two players is significant. While Gyökeres may offer immediate impact, Cesco embodies the potential for long-term growth. Arteta's consideration of Cesco as a viable alternative reflects a strategic mindset that prioritizes sustainability over short-term gains. The future of Arsenal's recruitment strategy. Arteta's approach indicates a shift in Arsenal's recruitment strategy. Gone are the days when the club would chase older players in the hope of immediate success. Instead, there is a clear focus on building a squad that emphasizes youth, potential, and a cohesive playing style. The decision to pursue younger players like Cesco aligns with broader trends in football, where clubs are increasingly investing in youth development and scouting. This strategy not only helps in financial sustainability but also creates a sense of identity and continuity within the squad. The broader implications for Arsenal. The discussions surrounding Gyökeres and Cesco have far-reaching implications for Arsenal's future. If Arteta and his management team can successfully navigate the complexities of the transfer market, they may lay the groundwork for a new era at the club. A culture of excellence. Arteta's insights also suggest a culture of excellence within the club. By being transparent about the challenges of securing players, he fosters a sense of realism and humility. This culture can be pivotal in attracting talent, as players will want to be part of a project that values integrity and open communication. Moreover, this approach can enhance relationships with agents and other clubs. By establishing a reputation for honesty and professionalism, Arsenal may find it easier to negotiate future deals, paving the way for successful transfers. The role of analytics and data in decision-making. In today's football landscape, data analytics plays a crucial role in identifying talent. Arteta's focus on long-term investments may also be influenced by the increasing reliance on data-driven decision-making. By analyzing player performance metrics, Arsenal can make informed choices about potential signings. As Arteta considers younger players like Cesco, he may be using data to assess their potential impact on the club. This analytical approach can provide insights into how players might fit into the existing squad and contribute to the team's philosophy. The emotional toll of transfer negotiations. While the business side of transfers is often highlighted, it's essential to acknowledge the emotional toll on all parties involved. For players like Gyökeres, the decision to move clubs is monumental, impacting their career trajectories and personal lives. Arteta's understanding of these emotional dynamics speaks to his leadership style. Building relationships with players. Arteta's ability to empathize with players places him in a strong position as a leader. By recognizing the complexities of player negotiations, he can build meaningful relationships with potential signings. This relational approach may ultimately facilitate smoother transitions for new players, allowing them to settle into the club more easily. The fan perspective. For Arsenal fans, the transfer saga surrounding Gyökeres and Cesco is more than just business, it reflects the club's ambitions and vision for the future. Fans are invested in the club's direction, and they want to see a clear strategy that resonates with their aspirations. Arteta's transparency regarding the challenges of securing players fosters a sense of trust among supporters. They appreciate being kept in the loop, and this connection can enhance the overall atmosphere around the club. Conclusion. A new chapter for Arsenal. As Mikel Arteta navigates the complexities of the transfer market, his insights into the negotiations with Victor Gyokeres reveal a broader vision for Arsenal. By embracing a strategy that prioritizes youth and potential, Arteta is laying the foundation for a new era at the club. The challenges of securing Gyökeres serve as a reminder of the intricacies involved in football transfers. Yet, Arteta's willingness to explore alternatives like Benjamin Cesco demonstrates a proactive approach that could yield long-term benefits. Arsenal stands at a crossroads, and the decisions made in the coming months will define the club's trajectory for years to come. As Arteta continues to refine his strategy, fans and players alike will be watching closely, hopeful for a future filled with success and growth.